Thank you. For those of you who are looking at your ticket and you were seeing the title of the concert, you may have wondered, what the heck are they going to do? Well, the theme of today's concert is about water. And water in all its forms, rain, lakes, rivers, waves, oceans, and all that sort of thing. Water has fascinated poets and musicians since the dawn of time. In fact, there are madrigals, vocal pieces from the Renaissance, the 1400s, where the composer of the madrigal, he was tone painting. He actually had the singers imitating the sounds of a babbling brook. Vivaldi in the Four Seasons, he has the violins making water sounds in the stream. Beethoven portrays a brook in his Pastoral Symphony No. 6. Wagner wrote incredible music in the orchestra to emulate the Rhine River in his ring cycle, the operas of the ring cycle. Debussy, he wrote La Mer, which translates into the sea. So all musicians have had this fascination with water for a long time. Now, we just heard a march by John Philip Sousa, no less. And you think to yourself, why a march if this has to do with water? Well, the title of the march was Hands Across the Sea. He doesn't try to imitate any kinds of sounds of water in the march, but it was meant at the time, the march itself was meant as a sort of a musical bridge to our neighbors across the sea. And that was composed in 1899, and in fact, it made its premiere at the Academy of Music in Philadelphia, and it was received so well by the audience, they made him repeat it about 3 or 4 times. So we're only going to play it once, so we know you got places to be. Next, now we're getting into the program proper, and we're going to play music from, of course, the Water Music Suite by Georg Friedrich Handel. It was composed for King George I, and it premiered on July 17th, 1717. It's almost a palindrome. In response to George's request to have an orchestra concert on the River Thames, he wanted to have this. He was on a barge. He was taking a trip up the River Thames with a bunch of other barges of other rich people, I guess, and he wanted to have the orchestra playing some music, and Handel obliged by composing the Water Music Suite. I guess they didn't have boom boxes back then, so you had to bring an orchestra with you if you wanted to have music. So King George liked the music so much, he had the orchestra play it 3 times in the course of the evening. We'll play the finale from the Water Music Suite only once, and we think it's probably the most recognizable of the movements. So here is the finale from the Water Music Suite by Georg Friedrich Handel. Well, the open seas were full at one point of pirates. Arr. So we're going to play music from the Pirates of Penzance. It's a comic opera in 2 acts, and its official premiere was at the Fifth Avenue Theater in New York City on New Year's Eve of 1879, and it was a big hit right from the start. The story concerns a young man named Frederick, who on his 21st birthday was released from his apprenticeship from a band of tender-hearted pirates. And the story goes on and on and on. And like many of Gilbert and Sullivan's stage works, the story pokes fun at unqualified people in positions of authority. It never happens. In this case, it's the character in question is a modern major general who has an up-to-date knowledge of everything except the military. So the plot of the opera kind of resembles a 19th century episode of Three's Company, with mix-ups of who's wearing what costume and blah blah blah. For those of you who might remember that show from the 1970s, and of course it turns out to be a happy ending. So here is the overture to the Pirates of Penzance by Gilbert and Sullivan. Thank you. Now, continuing on our nautical journey, we're going to play a piece called Sea Songs by the composer Ralph Vaughan Williams. It was written in 1923, and what it is a kind of a march medley, but it's not really marching in the same way as Sousa was, but 2/4 time pieces of music. But they're all, there's 3 well-known English sea shanties. If you're in England, I guess they were well-known. I don't know, I didn't know them before. But one of the sea shanties is Princess Royal. The next is Admiral Benbow. And the last sea shanty that we're going to hear in this medley is Portsmouth. And it should be noted for any of you who are concert band aficionados out there, the Sea Songs, this piece we're about to play, was originally intended to be the 4th movement of Vaughan Williams' famous folk song suite. For any of you who follow concert band music, you might know that. And I don't know if the band knows that. Did you guys know that? I never told you about that, did I? I try to keep them in the dark as much as possible. So, in any case, here is Sea Songs by Ralph Vaughan Williams. Okay, now we're moving from the open sea to a river. This particular river is the Shenandoah River. The Shenandoah Valley and the Shenandoah River are both in Virginia, and the origin of the name of the valley and the river is a little bit obscure. They don't really know. Some people feel it was an Indian name, but it's not really definitively been proven one way or another. There's a folk song called Shenandoah, which is equally obscure. They know that it was dated someplace in the 19th century, but other than that, they don't know. Now, if you don't know the song, I'm going to sing it for you. No extra charge. Just me. I'm going to take that pitch. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you and hear your rolling river. I'm too high. Oh, Shenandoah, I meant to sing there, sorry. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you and hear your rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, we're bound away, across the wide Missouri. Well, you see that? That rendition was designed specifically to make the band sound better. Here is Frank Tikelly's version of it. See how it stacks up to mine. guess I'll have to ask you. I won't ask which version you like better. All right, back to some pirates. The Pirates of the Caribbean is a blockbuster Disney franchise that began in 2003 with The Curse of the Black Pearl. The second film in the series was The Dead Man's Chest, which made its appearance on July 7th in 2006. And the music was composed by Hans Zimmer. Strangely enough, Hans Zimmer was not really the composer in the first film, but he took over in the second film and for quite a few of the films. We're going to play a medley of music from Pirates of the Caribbean, The Dead Man's Chest. And the music you're going to hear is, the first section of the medley is going to be all music that is associated with Jack Sparrow, the main character. And then you're going to hear music that accompanies the Kraken, which is like a big, like octopusy thing. It's like a monster that attacks ships and stuff like that. Then you're going to hear music that is associated with Davy Jones. And then there's a background music called I've Got My Eye on You. And then we're going to finish with The Wheel of Fortune. So this is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Thank you very much. We're going to take a 7th inning stretch. We're not going anywhere, but we're going to take like 5 minutes. You can, if you want to go out and wander around the hallways for 5 minutes. They got to get the blood back in the lips for the brass players and whatnot. But we'll be back here. Let's synchronize our watches. I have 4:44, so we're going to start again at 4:49. Let's round it up to 4:50. Well, now, we're leaving the Mississippi River, and we're heading down to the tropics. In fact, we're going to play a piece by Louis Moreau Gottschalk called A Night in the Tropics. It's actually half of his first symphony. He composed this piece first, and then several years later he composed another piece. Can you guess what the title is? A Day in the Tropics. So you have A Night in the Tropics and A Day in the Tropics, the first and second movements of his very popular first symphony. In fact, it's the most popular thing I think he's ever written. So we'll play A Night in the Tropics for you. Okay. Now, we've dealt with rivers, we've dealt with oceans, we've dealt with pirates, we've dealt with a lot of different water-based things. We didn't deal with precipitation yet. So we're going to play for you a wonderful little piece called In a Gentle Rain by Robert W. Smith. It was composed in 1997, and it explores the simple beauty of a summer shower. You'll hear raindrops. People are going to be snapping their fingers lightly to represent raindrops. And you're going to hear the gentle thunder off in the distance, portrayed by the bass drum. And the composer invites you to close your eyes, and we invite you to close your eyes. Nobody will try to steal anything from you. But close your eyes and experience the soothing beginning of the storm, the gentle rumble of the thunder, and the storm gets a little bigger and then it just kind of dies away. So this is In a Gentle Rain. when it's done. Well, now, as I said, we've dealt with all kinds of water-based themes and music that takes place on the water, in the water, and so forth. And again, the theme of the concert was wet and wild, but so far we've had the wet part, but now we're gonna hear the wild part. We're gonna play a piece that has nothing to do with water, but it's wild. It's called the Gavortner Fanfare by Jack Stamp. I think you'll agree, it's a wild piece. Did we scare you? I see you're still here, so it wasn't so bad. I figure it was only a minute and a half, so you couldn't, even if you didn't care for it. Okay, how could we possibly do a concert about water and the surf and all that stuff without playing some music of the Beach Boys? So we're going to do that for you now. The tunes that we're going to play, this is a medley, these are the big hits of the Beach Boys. I Get Around, Fun, 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 Help Me Rhonda, In My Room, Don't Worry Baby, California Girls, and Good Vibrations. So it's all the biggies. So here is the Beach Boys Forever, and of course Brian Wilson was the mastermind of the Beach Boys. He composed most of the songs, or he was co-composer or composer of most of the songs that the Beach Boys made famous. So here is Beach Boys Forever. Well, we've come to the end of the program, but we're going to play an encore. But you don't know it's an encore because you don't have a program. So we haven't come to the end of the program yet. We're going to play a piece for you. We've been in the ocean, we've been in the rivers, we've been everywhere. We haven't been under the sea. And so we're going to play from The Little Mermaid, Under the Sea. Alan Menken and Howard Ashman are the composer and lyricists. So here is Under the Sea. And we want to thank you so much for coming out tonight, this afternoon. Can't tell what the place closed up. Thank you very much for coming.